there, it's 10 p.m. in Banjo. This is the news in our headlines tonight. Mayor of the Kanifing Municipal Council, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, presides over the laying of foundation stone for the construction of a $7 million market project in Talinding. Promoting value addition within the food value chain, GAMWorks and partners hand over an agro-food processing center to promote skills development for young migrant returnees. In sports, Gambian students from various universities in Turkey welcomed the first batch of coaches, athletes and officials from the Gambia ahead of the 5th Konya Islamic Solidarity Games 2021. And in Kenya, preliminary results show tight race between the two main candidates, Raila Odinga and William Ruto, who are vying for the presidency. For details of these and other stories coming ahead in the news with me, Fatu Elika Muloshi. Many thanks for joining us. Hello there, it's great to have you here. We begin with the Mayor of Kanifing Municipal Council, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, who presided over the laying of foundation stone for the construction of the new Yafatunjai market in Talinding North on Tuesday. The $7 million project is expected to transform the current market to a state-of-the-art community market, courtesy of Area Metropolitan of Barcelona, Mbolo Association in collaboration with KMC. Usman Mane witnessed the laying of the foundation stone, and he prepared this report.
Development for the women of Talinding amidst fanfare as they welcome Talib Ahmed Bensouda at Fatunjai Market in Talinding North. The market is about to see a major transformation from its current state to a modern facility worth $7 million. The Lord Mayor of Kanifing Municipal Council laid the foundation stone of a new market supported by Area Metropolitan of Barcelona and Mbolo Association, which will be the second of such an infrastructure to be constructed in Talinding. Babukar Mansale, the councillor of the beneficiary ward, who is on an APRC ticket, underscored the timeliness of the new market, saying it will meet the demands of the growing population in the area. The young councillor reaffirmed his support to the development agenda of the Lord Mayor, who he said is apolitical in his programs.
As far as development is concerned, as long as development,
the National Assembly member for the area, Honorable Musa Baji, described KMC as an institution of development. He hailed efforts undertook by the council to address waste management.
Market infrastructural development and expansion about a program of Konole. Bokaniti program in Lord Mayor. Amanke karga opportunity is in this program. Konna kebi kondukodo fe amanteng.
Sustainable livelihoods through improved sanitation and green production is the expected outcome when completed. Implementing partners Mbolo Association is into renewable energy services, and their support will create climate-friendly environment for women vendors. Malan Sambu of Mbolo Association said the partnership between the implementing partners will spur growth for the community of Talinding.
We're talking about a sustainable green market. So that means we have to be clean ourselves. Therefore, Mbolo, in the partnership with KMC and AMD project, they are putting 69,000 euros.
In his keynote address, Talib Ahmed Bensouda said the development and advancement of the people of his municipality is of utmost priority for sustainable livelihoods, noting that the $7 million worth of market will ease challenges of women in the area. The Lord Mayor disclosed plans to construct a $45 million municipal library whose foundation will be laid in coming weeks. He highlighted a series of development projects underway for the people of KMC.
The National Library.
The Alcalo's representative, Modlamin Baji, and my colleague, Women President, lauded the new development while describing Mayor Bensouda as a development-oriented youth. With these qualities they described, Talib deserved their support. Usman Mane, GRTS.
In another development, a new VDC for the community of Nema Wasulung-Kunda has been tasked to find an amicable solution to the problems of flooding in the area. As we hear in this report by Ibrahim Abah, the stakeholders meeting was attended by representatives of the KMC mayor and governor of the West Coast region.
Dark clouds are usually considered an omen within the community of Nema Wasulung Kunda as they signal a new wave of flooding, seeping into compounds, devastating families. However, to address this old phenomenon, residents have tasked themselves to form a new village development committee that will usher in the much needed strategies to address this perennial problem. In a rather somber mood, the village alcalde of Nema Wasulung Kunda, Pa Tumani Jasi, appealed to government for the construction of proper drainage canals, saying this way the community will be connected to the road network within the Greater Banjul area.
Nema kungu Wasulung kabri ninjo la kunda na leuto fa aina naki jang fa ta naki lungundu na leuto.
Nema Kunku Wasulung border, the flood water have destroyed all. If you don't come here, you will not know. What I can say is for the people and president to help us evacuate those who are under siege. Women representative Aida Ndao recalled the challenges associated with flooding, noting that the community has endured enough. She said the phenomenon has made it difficult for women and children to perform their daily activities.
Nema musol batata, dindingol batata, dokulal batata.
Nema women are tired, children are tired, workers are tired since when the rain comes, especially August. Women used to be frightened because when you buy your fish, 1 week you cannot go out.
The general market manager for the Kanifing Municipal Council, Modunjai, noted that finding a lasting solution remains a priority for the Kanifing Municipal and Brikama area councils. We have seen Nema Wasulung Kunda and Bundung Bantaba are bordered. It is our responsibility, just as when the Vice President and President came here. Whatever the people plead for, we will forward it to the relevant authorities.
jël ko yóbbu ko ci moom ci ñaari fana benn ci council bi ak benn ci mbootaay bi nga xam ne moom la formé ci kaw ndimbal ak di joxe ndimbal.
For his part, the Deputy Governor of the West Coast region, Musa Suso, reiterated government's commitment to find a holistic approach that will permanently address overflowing within the metropolis. My coming here, what I have seen, if I also go, be it the governor, area council chairman, we will all discuss. It is hoped that when words are translated into actions, these young people who appear prime and poised will spur the much awaited change that the dwellers of Nema Wasulung Kunda have been yearning for far too long. Ibrahim Abah, GRTS News.
Moving on, promoting value addition within the food value chain, the Fund for Regional Stabilization and Development in Fragile Regions within ECOWAS, through its implementing partners like GAMWorks on Wednesday, handed over a site for the construction of an agro-food processing center. The project seeks to promote skills development, particularly for young migrant returnees. Ibrahim Abah again.
The handing over of this site for the construction of an agro-food processing center at the Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute in Kanifing is part of the Gambia pilot program implemented by GAMWorks. According to officials, the Gambia is selected to implement the project for the promotion of stability through sustainable development measures, focusing mainly on youth employment and women's empowerment, alongside skills development in fisheries, poultry and horticulture sectors. Speaking at the official handing over ceremony, GAMWorks project manager Khadijatu Fofana said the program will complement government's effort in addressing unemployment in the Gambia.
The contract is to a tune of $21.9 million. The facility is about 1,000 square meters, which is going to be housed here in this land right next to the administrative building. The contractor for this construction is Guy Construction, ably represented by Mr. Jane here, who is the project manager.
The communications officer of German Development Support Group, which is funding the Regional Stabilization Program, Senabu Drame, gave a brief history of the project, underscoring existing cooperation between ECOWAS and the German government, aimed at resolving the region's economic challenges.
This is the pilot project, and it's jointly implemented by GIZ and KfW. KfW is a German development bank, and GIZ is a German international corporation. The project was launched in 2017. It has two windows, the financial cooperation window and the technical cooperation window. The financial cooperation window is handled by, implemented by our partners, GAMWorks, under the Gambia pilot project. They are responsible for the infrastructure, and which is why we are here today. And GIZ is responsible for the capacity building aspect of this project. We're targeting over 3,000 young Gambians between the ages of 16 to 35 years of age.
At the end of the construction, the facility is expected to be fully fledged agro-processing center to train young people on food packaging.
We are highly delighted to be part of this project in that it adds value to not only our training, but also our service delivery.
Officially handing over the site to Guy Construction Company, GAMWorks Director General Omar Gay said their main pride in the scheme is the strong linkages being created between tourism and agriculture.
This is a contract between GAMWorks and Guy Construction to the amount of $21.9 million for a construction period of 10 months. It's a food processing infrastructure for educational purposes and a little bit of production.
Gay Construction Company representative Abdul Jain assured GAMWorks of their commitment to meet the targeted deadline within the project funds. The Gambia pilot program is the first implementation under a major regional stabilization fund provided by the German government to boost employment and key economic sectors for improved growth across West Africa. Ibrahim Abba, GRTS News.
About that. Now, the government of the Gambia has intensified efforts to improve access to healthcare delivery as health officials embark on a massive digital birth registration of the masses into the health insurance scheme. The aim is to mitigate the challenge faced by Gambians, especially the low-income earners. Omar Jaite, Health Communication Officer at the Ministry of Health, further explained the process. Here is an excerpt.
We are at Bakote and Kotu N, and we are registering both the national health insurance card, and we are also changing birth certificate into new ones, and also registering new birth certificate. Basically, that is what the campaign is all about, and the ministry is spearheading it with its partners, that is World Bank and WHO and other supportive partners. Almost every day we are also in the field. We encounter those challenges, we note them, and if we come, we forward these challenges to our supervisors, which usually they have a meeting every day by 6, and where those challenges are discussed, and they look, they see the way forward to solve these challenges for the campaign to run smoothly. From the Kotu end, end, we'll be moving, will be around Sinchu end and Sukuta end, that is Yundum, around Yundum and Lameng. So those are the our next target for the campaign. So from these areas, that will be in a week time, will be around those ends. So I am calling on the public around that and to prepare their documents. So when this time come, they all rush to get these two very important documents. Bakau have started. They are doing it as we speak. Bakau and Abuku N, they are all on registration. So presently we are in KM. We are yet to start West Coast. So it's step by step. So if you see that we are yet to reach your area, be expecting us in the next 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah. So we will try to cover all KM before we start West Coast.
Health Communication Officer at the Ministry of Health, Omar Jaite, there talking to GRTS about the birth registration and that of the health insurance scheme. Well, to the Central River region now, where the National Coordinating Organization for Farmers Association of the Gambia, in partnership with All Gambia Forest and funding from Food and Agriculture Organization, have held a massive tree planting exercise in Sara Madi Jante and Jalal Bakadaji in the Central River region. Our correspondent in the region is Modula Mensane.
Of Sare Madijante in Upper Fuladu converge at the community forest to plant trees courtesy of the National Coordinating Organization of Farmers Association in the Gambia.
Restoring the environment is to engage in the tree planting, and the community must be involved because this should be a community-owned activity. So that is why if you look behind and around, you're going to understand that the communities are the ones that are leading this. Already a gazetted community forest. For the fact that it's gazetted community forest, we also want to see how the community themselves would be part of this exercise. Not only being part of the exercise, but this is why we have also decided to have some fruit trees because we believe that we want to see how the community can also protect the community forest.
A tree planting exercise supported by the All Gambia Forestry Platform and Forestry Department with funding from the Food and Agriculture Organization witnessed the planting of 600 trees.
The environment we've seen is degrading a lot, and then we have seen the impacts of climate change people are feeling now. So planting trees definitely will be of significance. Normally we sensitize communities, especially when it comes to issues of forest fires. And then as we've seen, this belt, the past 2 years, the community is engaged in clearing this fire belt in order to protect the forest from fires. The community will be committed in protecting the trees from failing and fires.
This intends to promote community and family forest initiatives in a bid to combat the rising impacts of climate change through reforestation.
Because sandari legal nafakamum.
The importance of trees are vast. Trees are part of life because the more we have them around, the better our rain pattern is. Locals here attach great significance to the conservation of these forests amid joint efforts with stakeholders to boost its protection. The exercise here is part of a plan by farmer cooperative group NACOFAC to plant 3,000 trees in 5 communities across the country. The team recently planted 600 trees in Jalal Bakadaji in Central River Region North. Moudlamin Sane reporting for GRTS News from the Central River Region.
Well, time now for our first break. When we return, we'll join Gambian students in Turkey together with embassy staff to welcome the first batch of coaches, athletes and officials from the Smiling Coast for the 5th Konya Islamic Solidarity Games. We will be back with these and other stories right after. Stay with us. Well, Welcome back. You're watching GRTS, and this is the news with me, Fatu Elika Mulushi. Now let's head straight to Turkey, where Gambian students from various universities in there joined the embassy in Ankara to welcome the first batch of coaches, athletes and officials from the Gambia for the 5th Konya Islamic Solidarity Games 2021 in Turkey. The Deputy Gambian Ambassador to Ankara, Toki Cherno Marina, paid a courtesy call on Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Baji, athletes, coaches and officials from the Gambia present at the 5th Islamic Solidarity Games 2021 in Konya, Turkey. Famra Baji reports.
This was the scene as soon as some members of the Gambia team for the Konya Islamic Solidarity Games arrived in Turkey. A delegation that comprised of athletes, Paralympics and basketball players among other sports were accorded heroes welcome by members of the Gambia Embassy and the Gambian students in Turkey. The Deputy Gambian Ambassador to Turkey, Cherno Marina, later visited Gambian athletes at their hotels. This includes the Queen of Track, Gina Bass, and judoka Fai Alex Njai, among others. Some members of the Gambia's team have since competed in the track events, with both Gina Bass and Wurin Jado progressing to the semi-finals of the women's 200 meters, while in the male category, Ibrahima Kamara and Ali Jouf, who both finished second, advanced to the semi-finals of the men's 200 meters. From the look of things, this could be a successful competition for Team Gambia. Famara Baji, GRTS News.
We're wishing them all the best. And still in sports, the legendary Serena Williams, the 23-time Grand Slam singles champion and one of the greatest tennis players, has announced that she will soon retire from playing tennis. Famar Baji has the details in this report.
It is almost the end of an era. The world will soon start to miss a player of her caliber. Serena Williams, the 23-time Grand Slam singles champion, and one of the greatest tennis players of all time and a sporting icon, is set to retire from playing tennis. First took to the lawns at the age of 17, and since then proved a hard nut to crack for her opponents. The American first lifted her Grand Slam singles title in New York in 1999 in the US Open, and since then, titles became her trademarks. Fast forward to 2022, she became one of the most successful tennis players, with a remarkable record in her 27-year career. Now that the world #1 is hanging the racket, it is difficult to imagine tennis without a player who has won all that is there to win. But can the world have another Serena Williams? With Coco Gauff and British #1 Emma Raducanu with their timely hitting, that is a possibility. Until we see that happen, Serena Williams remains the world's most iconic female tennis player ever. The legend will not only be remembered for her performance, but her relentless role in the campaign against racism and pushing for gender parity and equal prize money in tennis. Farmer Abaji, GRTS News.
And we'll be back with news beyond our borders right after. Do stay. Welcome back. Now, preliminary results from Kenya's presidential election showed a tight race between the two main candidates vying to replace President Uhuru Kenyatta, with citizens praying an announcement of a winner would not unleash violence as in past years. Tuesday's election is an important test for stability in East Africa's biggest economy, where two of the last three elections led to bloodshed and disputes over accusations of rigging. The polls were largely peaceful, although police said they were hunting a legislator who shot dead a rival's aide outside a polling station. In the northern town of Eldas, where clashes prevented elections on Tuesday, polling stations opened peacefully on Wednesday. Presidential frontrunners, Deputy President William Ruto and veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga are in a close race. Results tabulated by the Kenyan media showed the winning candidate must get 50% plus one vote. Outgoing President Kenyatta, who reached his two-term limit, fell out with Ruto after their re-election in 2017 and has endorsed Odinga. Now, Julian Assange has been detained at London's high-security Belmarsh prison, one of the UK's toughest detention centres since 2019. The WikiLeaks founder has long since completed his original 50-week sentence for skipping bail in 2012, but he has remained in custody ever since in extremely harsh conditions, in what is essentially detention pending deportation. If the judges deny her husband the chance to launch another round of appeals, Assange's wife and lawyer Stella fears the worst. Julian's life depends on him winning this, she said in an interview with DW.
Freedom for Julian Assange, that's what his supporters are demanding in front of the British Home Office. Stella Assange is among them. Appearing in public to talk about her husband's plight takes a toll on her.
In Spain and Italy and
but she says she won't stop until he is free.
Julian's life depends on him winning this extradition. Julian is clinically depressed. If he is extradited and placed in the type of isolation that the US government says that it reserves the right to place him in, then he will be driven to commit suicide.
Stella Assange fell in love with her future husband while working as his lawyer in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Assange took refuge there in an attempt to avoid extradition to the US. Leaving the embassy would mean being arrested, so for 7 long years he stayed within its walls. In that time, they had 2 sons. Their wedding took place in prison, where the family is allowed to see each other for 1 hour a week.
They check inside their mouths, behind their ears, in their hair, under their feet. They have to go through the dogs that sniff them from head to toe, and they understand that this is a place where their father is not allowed to leave.
Stella Assange wants her children to get to know their father outside of prison walls.
Ultimately, once the domestic remedies have been exhausted in the UK, he can then appeal to the European Court of Human Rights.
Her husband is a journalist uncovering war crimes, not a spy. That's what Stella Assange keeps telling the media. The US justice system, however, sees things differently. They accuse him of inciting others to hack into computer networks.
It will define the scope of press freedom in Europe. Is it permissible for a foreign power to reach into the European space and limit what the press can publish? Think about if China were to do exactly the same thing and prosecute a journalist in Germany on the same principle because that journalist exposed Chinese crimes.
European governments should defend themselves against US interference, she says.
The effect is to chill the press, because now what can happen to Julian can happen to others.
The fight to free her husband is exhausting, but giving up is out of the question for Stella Assange until her husband is free.
Well, several major explosions took place in an area near a Russian military air base in Moscow, annexed to Crimea. Local officials confirmed on Tuesday. Kyiv has denied responsibility for the incident. The blasts took place in the town of Novofedorovka, which is also a popular tourist destination. Images and videos shared on social media showed flames of black smoke rising from the site. Emergency crews rushed to the scene. 1 person was killed, according to the regional leader of Crimea, while the region's top health officials said 5 people, including a child, had been injured. Russia's defense ministry denied reports that there had been an attack, saying the blasts were caused by the detonation of aviation ammunition.
The Ministry of Defense has said that it advises the people in occupied Crimea to adhere to smoking regulations, and Russia has said it was an accident. But if you look at the video footage that people have shot from these explosions, then it's very clear that an accidental fire is not very probable. 2 explosions happening at the same time at 2 different locations. That pretty much looks like an attack. Now, who did it and why and how? is another question. We have several voices out of the Ukrainian government suggesting that it might have either been a partisan attack or some kind of a rocket or UAV attack. This is very contradictory, and that's probably intended because Ukraine wouldn't want to give Russia a clue about what has been happening and wouldn't want Russia to draw some consequences in further cases, some security regulations, etc. From this. So we are at the moment, we don't really know what has happened, but it's pretty clear that this is a major strike on Russian military infrastructure there. It was a big aerodrome that was used, Ukrainians say, for attacks on the Ukrainian inner territories, and we have also seen these were big explosions, a lot of ammunition, several planes destroyed, so it's definitely a military success for Ukraine, and that's probably also the reason why Russia is not admitting that it has been an attack, because it would make look Russia pretty vulnerable on Crimea, which is one of their main military bases, one of the most militarized places in this region. Ukrainian Ministry of Defense has said that it advised.
Well, viewers, that's the news with me, Fatu Elika Maloshi. But a quick look at our top stories once again. Mayor of the Kanifing Municipal Council, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, has presided over the laying of the foundation stone for the construction of a $7 million market project in Talinding. Promoting value addition within the food value chain, Gamworks and partners have handed over Agro-Food Processing Center to promote skills development for young migrant returnees. In sports, Gambian students from various universities in Turkey have welcomed the first batch of coaches, athletes and officials from the Gambia ahead of the 5th Konya Islamic Solidarity Games 2021. And in Kenya, preliminary results showed a tight race between the two main candidates, Raila Odinga and William Ruto, who are vying for the presidency. That's it for tonight's bulletin. It's been myself, Fatu Elika Maloshi, and from the entire news team, many thanks for the pleasure of your company, and stay tuned to GRTS for more interesting programs. Good evening.